anti-discrimination in our shelters. Much work has been done on that. It's still not perfect. So it's very, very serious, obviously. So I really think we have to work to do a huge amount of anti-discrimination training. I just completed a film called Home Safe Toronto that is an anti-discrimination tool about what homeless youth go through and children. And I was able to work with the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario to ensure that they develop curriculum that was appropriate for all schools on that issue. So I would like to be able to do the same on this issue. We also need safe places for youth to go that are facing these circumstances so they don't end up in the silos or in our alleyways or in unsafe situations. And one of those would be if we had a really full affordable housing program, some affordable transitional emergency housing, not shelter but housing for youth such as these. My daughter's not in the school system now, but I've learned from other folks that there's gay-straight alliances in some schools, but not in all. And I think it needs to be in all, like not just in certain schools, but in all schools across Ontario. Thanks.
Thanks very much. Pamela, I have great respect for you, but when it comes to gay and lesbian rights, you're no Kathleen Wynne. There is a reason why so many of us in the gay and lesbian community, Kathleen Wynne, myself, Meredith Sylvia, Silva, George Smitherman, are not only active members of the Liberal Party, but we play leadership roles in that, because it is the least homophobic party I think there is politically. I will never forget a time I read every Democrat and had every Democrat vote all the members in the party telling them not to support me because gay people would not get elected in Winnipeg.
You should have run for the NDC. We would have happily have taken you in.
Oh yeah, sure. We'll get to that. Exactly. But you know, no party is perfect. All of our parties have made mistakes, and all of us can spend our time pointing them out. And if we want to spend tit for tat, that's fine. I just find the NDP gets a little heavy on the sanctimony sometimes on these things. But frankly, chapter and verse where the Liberal Party has from time to time let us down. But the journey to where we've gotten to, I don't think we have many apologies to make today. And on gay and lesbian things, the point is that we have put in over $84,000 into lesbian, gay, bi, trans, and youth line, and $170,000 in youth funding to supporting our youth to soil. I won't even get into all the time and programs and all the time that so many of us have spent in schools. I work on the services to marginalized youth of the Toronto District School Board, where we work on not just gay and lesbian issues, but to everyone else who's experienced hate. You know, so let's talk about the future, because I think we need to be doing more of these kinds of things. And the kinds of investments that are already in place aren't happening anywhere else in Canada. They aren't happening under governments run by any other party. They so far are too unique to Ontario. So how do we build and expand these and expand them to other provinces? Thank you.
10 years ago, the entire Human Rights Code was amended to give us greater equality. Today, transgender persons
Stand here.
not been
Speak up. Stand here.
10 years ago, the entire Human Rights Code was expanded to give gays and lesbian rights. And today I was signing a letter asking the Liberal government to please follow up on including trans individuals under the entire Human Rights Code. And last year, their school was closing because of lack of funding. And when you talk about children bullying one another, well, if we had a properly funded education system, if we were funding some of these after-school programs, some of these schools, we'd give our kids something to do other than pick on each other to start with. I mean, I've been on Queer as Folk, and I stood there every day on a freezing cold set with some of the boys in this room. And yes, you know, we were talking about the fact that we were doing that show because we wanted to change the mindsets of people around us. When you talk about invisible barriers to living successfully, yes, being gay is one of them. Being transgender is a very visible barrier, and we need to put more money into, yes, education, but however, let's start with one thing we could do. Let's ask the Liberal minister in charge to take out his pen and sign the Charter of Human Rights Act to include transgender persons, and then our children who are dealing with sexual identity crises will not be bullied in school because our laws will be there to actually adequately protect them.
Give credit to where credit's due, and it's